What's going on, cigar world? What's going on, cigar enthusiasts? This is Jack, the cigar enthusiast, and I'm back with quarantine cigar session number 3. So strap in, buckle up, and let's go.
Pull up in motorcade.
Lighting a cigar is really a science behind it, and you must really understand the theory behind lighting a cigar. If you don't understand the theory behind lighting a cigar, you're going to find yourself really in a situation where your cigar tastes charred or your cigar tastes a little burnt. And the reason why that is because you didn't properly light the wrapper, the binder, and the filler at the same time to really get that cigar engaged. And that's when you start seeing uneven burns. You start seeing, you start tasting those charred, harsh pulls that the cigar typically don't give off. So it's things that you must understand when lighting a cigar. It is not just simply lighting the tip of a cigarette. This takes time. It takes profession. It takes patience in order to be able to properly light that cigar. So what I want to do is I want to kind of paint a picture for you real quick. Lighting a cigar is like roasting a marshmallow. Think of it like this. When you're at a campfire, you have a marshmallow. You don't put it directly in a fire. Why? Because the marshmallow will burn. It will burn. It will melt off the stick. It will cause that marshmallow to be discombobulated. Now, when you do light a marshmallow over a campfire, you typically want to rotate it and bring it a little further back. That way you're not really in the fire, but you have the heat of the fire roasting the marshmallow. While marshmallow is roasting, you're rotating it a little bit so that all the other parts of the marshmallow can roast. Now you think of this concept when lighting a cigar. Lighting a cigar is not lighting a cigarette where you get the tip a little bit, you smoke it, and eventually it comes out uneven. No, that is not the concept, and that is not the case. Lighting a cigar actually takes a little bit of time to really do. To properly light a cigar, you must engage the wrapper, the binder, and the filler all at the same time to get a evenly lit cigar. Now, with that being said, we're going to go over a couple ways to actually light a cigar. We're using a torch, using some matches, and using a soft lighter. The first light that we're gonna go over is a torch light. We're using a new Cuba to demonstrate on. Again, this is one of my favorite cigars, my favorite cheap cigar that you can kind of always understand that you're gonna get a good smoke out of it. But we're not here to talk about the cigars, we're here to talk about the lighters. So when you light a cigar, you simply light the torch. Now you want it to seconds to actually get all that butane that was at the initial blow out of it. And what you do is you don't put it in the lighter you don't put it in a cigar like this. Look what has happened to the cigar when you put the flame directly on it. You char the mess out of that, right? So when you char the mess out of them, again, you start getting that burnt smell. You can even smell how burnt it is. So you want to simply come at an angle. Again, give it some time. Come at an angle. And then you see, you want to rotate and just kind of burn the tips. Burn the tips. I don't have the torch directly on the cigar, otherwise it'll burn. So now you have already burned the tips. You have twisted it clockwise, counterclockwise, whatever way works best for you. You have rotated. You have every single end already kind of burnt. Now already charred the tips of it. Now you can start focusing on the middle. And again, you don't want the cigar directly on the fire, right? Slowly rotate it, then you blow it, and you should have a cherry. All right, the next light that we're gonna go over is your match light. Your match light is really good for indoor controlled wind spaces where it's not a lot of wind, because obviously it's a match. The wind will blow the match away. Let's use common sense here, right? So when you use a match light, you usually want to get some long stem matches because that way it takes a little bit of time to actually light the cigar using a match. So with that being said, if you don't have a long enough match, the match will burn, the match will fall off, the match will, kind of disintegrate in your hand, and obviously you're not going to really get the fulfillment of the match burned, and eventually you're going to go through, 18 something matches to get one cigar lit. So what most people do is they light it and they hold it, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna light it in my mouth and kind of rotate it in my mouth so you see, but you're gonna rotate it just like this around the flame. So you got a properly lit cigar using a match. And the last light we're gonna go over is your soft flame lighter. This is the lighter that you would typically see anywhere. You can pick one up from the gas station, dollar store. It doesn't matter where it's at, and it's usually like a big lighter, but today we're using like a grill lighter, pretty much. It's still a big, but whatever. So with that being said, same concept. Remember, you want to rotate the cigar, and light around the edges. Again, lighting a cigar takes a little bit of time. You had to have a little patience in order to properly light that cigar. So you have your flame. Then you just burn the tips. Spin it around. Make sure you're getting that burn. And again, why do you do the tips first? I said it in the beginning of this video, but you do the tips that way you can engage what? The binder, the wrapper, and the filler. So then once you get the tips, kind of go over the middle. Again, it's just a nice controlled flame. As you see, it takes a little bit of time, but you get a perfect light out of this. Look at that. Lighting a cigar is a science, so you have to be able to properly light your cigar to really get the fulfillment of the cigar. It's going to allow you to enjoy the cigar, trust me. If you don't properly light a cigar, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to taste a char type flavor throughout that entirety of that cigar. Make sure when you light a cigar, you engage the cigar by engaging the wrapper, the filler, and the binder. I really hope you guys were able to learn some ways on how to properly light a cigar using a torch, a match, or a big lighter for that matter. This is Jack the Cigar Enthusiast, and I'm going.